Okay, this is another little short video I'm going to do. This is a little design that I just printed off something off the internet and just freehanded on here. And as I have done before, I use the airbrush food color that's liquid, which is actually Americolor. And I'm just going to do a little bit of painting here and just video it while I'm doing it. Alright, I'm going to continue on here. I'm going to try to answer a few little things. People always ask me what I'm using to paint with and paint on. This is a cake covered in homemade marshmallow fondant that I make myself. I've never used the store-bought because I just never have. It's cheaper to do it this way, and I've just learned how to do it, and it works good for me. And I think it tastes a lot better than the store-bought too. And I use AmeriColor has airbrush liquid food color, and I use that. I have this little small box. I've actually got to buy some more because some of these are getting empty. And I just put them on a plate with some water, just like you do in watercolor painting, and just use them that way. And so that's pretty much what I do. You know, as I've already said in another video, it's very important that you do not get too much color and water on your brush when you're painting on this, because obviously this is made with sugar, and you don't want to have it saturated with water. So it's important to continue to blot it on a paper towel, just to be sure you're not getting too much water, because that never does well at all. And you really don't need a lot of color either. You can just use a little bit of color. It goes a long way. It really does. You just don't need to use a whole lot of color. I think that might be one of the problems with some people trying to do the painting, is that they just use too much water or too much color, and you really just don't need all of that. When you're painting these petals, generally, if you do, like for instance, you do these that are on the inside, you're going to have darker color around the base, and then you're going to go lighter as you go up, and so you just will fill it in. And then if you have these here, like this one, this petal is actually coming out of the flower. I'm going to have the darker color on the inside there, and then it'll get lighter as I go out toward the end of the petal. And it's always good to have some little strokes in the direction your petal is growing, because that sort of shows you, it just helps. I don't know, it just it shows the growth and the direction of the petal when you do it like that. And so right now I'm just taking a little bit of water on this brush, just pulling out this color out towards the end. Now I'm going to put a little bit more dark up here close to the other petal. That's generally where they're darker, is right near another petal. And then too, I'll add a little bit of little gray in there, because you have a shadow coming from this other petal here, and you'll have a little bit of a darker color. Not much, just a little bit. And then you just continue around. This looks like one here that actually is coming up from the bottom. So I'm going to put the darker color here, and then I'm going to go up with the darker color, like this. I like to leave a lot of white, like that petal right there. So I'm just going to get some water, and I'm going to just kind of pull pull it up just like this, like I'm just pulling the color up. I'm not even using any extra color. I'm just using water, and I'm just pulling it up, just like that. Alright, get a little bit darker down here at the base of it. I'm going to just kind of pull it up just because you naturally have some of those little lines. And then on this little side here, it's going to be a little bit of a shadow because that is where it's kind of folded up. And as you notice, I have a very small brush that I really love, and I'm hoping I can find another one because this one has about had it. And anyway, while I have that on my brush, I'm going to go in here and just work a little bit on the inside here where the little stamen is, I guess. It's going to darken it up. Just make it a little darker. I'm going to start on the leaves and the stem. And instead of using just a regular green that I have, I like to mix a little bit of yellow and blue, which makes a different color green. So basically I'm going to start out, dry my hand off. I'm just going to start out right here. I'm going to put a little bit of yellow in there. Let's see if I can just drop it in. Right in the stem there. And then I'm going to take a little bit of blue and I'm going to come back and drop it in, and it will mix. As you can see, it mixes. And I have green. So just going to let that go in there. And then I'm going to let that dry for just a minute. We'll go to one of the leaves, this little leaf right here. I'm just going to put a little bit of sort of yellow green right in there. And then I'm going to go back and pick up some of the darker color. And I'm going to just start putting a little bit of that around the side. Like that. Okay. And I'm going to just blend it out just a little bit, just like this. There was a line in there, but I just kind of blended over it. And you wouldn't really think that it is, but actually this really is fairly forgiving. If you get something somewhere and you really don't want it there, you can do, you know, some adjustments to it. I mean, obviously you can't do a lot, but it's fairly forgiving. So you can make a mistake and you can go back and correct it or whatever. Anyway, you just keep on going here. Alright, this is a little darker because it's up underneath the flower, and the stem area where the little bud looks like it came off or whatever. And I'm going to go up under here and darken all of this up. And then I'm going to put some green here on these little leaves that come down beneath the petals. So I'm going to go back and pick up some of that green. And I'm going to put some in there. Some of it's in there with the dark, and that's fine. That's what I want. And you're just going to go back in and put some more green in each one of these little leaves here. And right here I'm coming to the end of the color on my brush. Basically there's just hardly any color on here at all. And I'm going to get a little bit of blue with a little bit of the black. Mix it up a little bit so I can make these shadows a little stronger. Right in here. Okay, I'm going to rinse my brush out, and I'm going to just kind of pull that color a little bit. I'm kind of blending in a little bit. Okay, just like that. I'm going to blend it on out. And keep working. Alright, I'm going to call it done. I could probably sit here and play around with it for a long time. I'm going to turn it around so you can see. That's how it turned out. Some sort of little roses there on the top. And like I had said on my page before, I've been thinking about starting a little blog on the painting of cakes and things like that, and maybe doing some little videos where you could follow along. And if you seem to be interested, if you would just maybe leave me a little comment that you would be interested in learning how to do this, then I will be glad to do more videos and help out in any way I can. If you have a question, just message me or make a comment or whatever, and I'm sure I'll see it. And anyway, thank you for watching.